Hey, Shalom Shalom Yishbokah. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. I'm your host, Rabbi Yehuda Ben Shomer, and this is not the normal headgear that you would see me wear on Ray Bash's Ramblings. So let me do a little explanation. Many of my Gadite or Ibu viewers of my channel will readily know that this is an Ibu cap. This is the Ibu version of a kippah, if you will. The Ibu have covered their head in this way for as long as anyone can remember. So sometimes you'll see me wear this cap or the red felt chieftain cap. So if I'm wearing this hat, most likely it's due to the fact that I'm going to be speaking on something regarding the Ibu people and the Ibu's connection to the lost tribe of Gad, through Gad's sons Eri, Areli, and Arodi. And the reason I come to you today with this particular video and this particular message is because I've read some recent research that some Ibu men and women have made, and they have made this claim that Eri was a god of the Ibu. He was not as high as Chukwu Abiyama. He was a lesser deity, a lesser god. And so I've had some people ask me, well, what do you think about this? I think it's a bunch of bunk. Is there historical writings or evidence or things that may point to Eri being a god? Yes, there is. But that doesn't mean that Eri was a god. You see, when Eri, Areli, and Arodi, the sons of Gad, left with other traveling companions and eventually came down to Africa and entered Nigeria and took up residence there, the further away Gad and his sons got from Israel through distance and through time, the more they were influenced by the other African pagan tribes around them. And it is a very, very, very common legend of any given African people in the area of Nigeria, where they say that their ancestor, whoever it may be, fell from the sky or fell from heaven, that he is a son of heaven. And they deify their ancestors, and some of them actually worship their ancestors. And so the Ibu, even though that they had many traits and many distinctions that separated them and made them foreigners among these other African tribes, such as circumcision, such as their reckoning of time, such as their laws of purity, their ritual sacrifice, their abstinence from certain foods, etc., which is very Hebraic, they adopted some of the pagan aspects of the African peoples around them. And so there too, the further they got in distance and time from the sons of Israel and from their father Gad, Eri, Areli, and Arodi fell into paganism, and they too began to deify their ancestor Eri and call him a god, lowercase g. So you'll find that in certain writings and certain oral traditions and certain legends and things of this nature. And that shouldn't surprise anyone, because Israel, why did Israel, as far as the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, as far as Judah and the other 10 tribes, why did they go into Babylonian and Assyrian captivity? It's because of their sin, because of their disobedience to Torah, because of their gross idolatry and gross paganism. They were always setting up altars of incense and altars on the high places to other gods or other deities, or even having the audacity to call these other deities by the name of Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, claiming that the bull was actually the one who took them out of Egypt. Things of this nature. And so I would just totally like to dispel that this Eri was a god. No, Eri was the descendant of Gad, the son of Gad, and he is the progenitor of what we know today as the Ibu tribe, the Ibu people. And the word Ibu is a corruption of the word Eber, which is where the Hebrew people get the name Hebrew. Eber eventually became known as Hebrew. And so Eber is in the lineage of Shem, which he is the father of all the Israelite, Jewish, and Arab peoples. So the Ibu is actually a corruption of Hebrew. And even in the old slave trade posters, they would advertise fine Hebos for sale. And because of this gross paganism that the Ibu people had found themselves in, being separated from distance and time from the children of Israel and from their father Gad, they fell into gross paganism and gross idolatry, started deifying their ancestors, started worshiping other gods, and what would you know? As soon as the white men came, the Igbos were one of the first people to be taken away as slaves and taken to the Caribbean islands, taken to the Americas, etc. And we can attribute this to Deuteronomy chapter 28, which talks about the blessings and cursings, the blessings of obeying Torah and the curses of disobeying Torah. And if you read that chapter very carefully, the curses of disobeying Torah, and part of this disobedience would be gross idolatry and paganism, would be that you would be scattered, you would be taken away into captivity, you would be sold as slaves, etc., etc. It's just right there in the Torah, in God's Word. And that's exactly what happened. And when the Christian missionaries came to evangelize the Igbos, they noticed very quickly their Hebraic traits and their Hebraic lineage and their Hebraic tradition, and they told the other missionaries, don't let them know, or they'll be lost to Judaism. We got to convert them. We got to convert these savages. We can't let them know their true identity. And so through Christianity, they said that Chukwuabiama is a pagan god, when Chukwuabiama means the God of Abraham. That's exactly what it means in Hebrew. And then they started introducing them to eating unkosher foods, and that is when the Igbos started eating pork and shellfish. It was after the white men came. It wasn't while they were surrounded by these other pagan nations that ate these things. It was when the Christian missionaries came and say, we know better. You know, we're civilized, we're learned, and you know. So the Christian missionaries took much away from the Igbos and hid and swept under the carpet a lot of truths of the origin of the Igbos. And now, today, we are finding ourselves in the last days, and the Igbos are slowly waking up to the reality and to the fact through the mounting evidence that comes in day by day of the Igbos' lineage and their connection to the lost tribe of Gad through Gad's sons Eri, Areli, and Arodi. So the main purpose of this video is to address that Eri was not a god, and to establish that through distance and time being away from the sons of Israel, that they adopted some of the pagan traditions and lore and mythology of the pagan peoples around them, and that's why you find this in a lot of some of the writings and other things that have been found in Igbo land. And it is a result of their paganism, and it was a result of their acceptance of idolatry, that many of them were taken off into slavery. And now Igbos are spread all over the world, just like the Jewish people are spread all over the world. But now we are in that time of regathering, that the lost tribes are waking up to who they are. They're finding their true identity. They're finding their true culture. And they're gravitating back towards the God of Abraham, towards the Torah, towards the Hebraicness of their lineage, the Hebraicness of their faith, etc., etc. So this is the main things that I wanted to address today in this video, is to give an explanation for why that some say that Eri was a god, and to give an explanation for why many of the Igbos were the very first Africans to be sent off into slavery. So as more things come to light, as more things develop, as more questions are being asked, the more future videos I will make in regards to the subject matter of the Igbo people and their connection to the lost tribe of Gad, specifically Gad's sons Eri, Areli, and Arodi. Thank you so much for watching. Shalom and Shavuot Tov.